Hello, everybody. Testing the audio. I hope you can hear me well. Okay. Let's see. Hi there. I just started and it's one of my first stream. I never did it before, so I'm just playing with actually a new plugin. It's called Bevel After Boolean, and I'm going to test it how it works with Art Surface. I just install it. It's free. Let's see how it works. It's supposed to clean the geometry after a Boolean operation. Yeah, it's behaving a bit weirdly. Let me try with new objects, apparatus. Try again with some different value. Okay. The delusions, thank you for letting me know. Let me see what I can do with my microphone. I bet I can change some settings and get some better volume. Is it louder now? Is it any better? Thank you so much for letting me know. So, I was discussing the other day about different technique to get some slice effect doing hard surface modeling. And actually, I have a file that I'm going to show you. If I find it, it's this one. Okay. So these details on the surface are obtained in with different techniques. You can see here the difference in the profile. and I'll show you the difference. Let's start with this one, or let's start with the classic one, which is this case. First of all, I suggest to everyone working with a hard surface to enable the Bool tool plugin. Bool tool. This plugin will give some shortcut and also some utility to work with Boolean in a faster way and in kind of slightly different workflow. It's still using the modifier, but it's automating the modifier workflow. So for example, I start with the normal cube here. Right, let's go in another scene for a moment. Whoops. We have our great cube or cylinder, for example. And then we have our cube that we'll use for as a cut to make, for example, a panel or something like that. So if you enable that add-on, Bool tool add-on, you have a Bool tool in edit here. So you select the first one, which is the cutter, the second one, and then you start with slice, for example, and it does exactly what you imagine. So you have two pieces now, this one and this one. It's the intersection, and it's created already as two different objects. Nothing special. Let me shade it, smooth and then auto smooth. The difference is that everything you do in one model, it's reflecting even in the other bit, because the Boolean modifier, it's actually still active. It's just controlled by this tool, the Bool tool. What you do next, it's usually add, for example, a bevel modifier, and you'll start seeing the problem with the bevel modifier. Let's go down a little bit, not too much. Okay, so remove the detail. And you want to use angle. Okay. So now you have your two objects, two parts of the objects, the panel, let's call it panel, which is cut out by our cube that it's hidden right now, and the main object there. Now, this is one way to do it. So using Bool tool or using normal Boolean, it works. And let's set material so you can see a bit better all the parts. And let's do some. Okay. Once you finish with your modeling, if you want to assign to the other part another material, you actually have to go manually and create a new material. But the two objects are linked. So you want to basically apply, and now you have two different objects. And you can assign two different material to the two different objects. You can still move the Boolean. What you want to do at the end, it's actually apply this, so you don't need the cube anymore. That was our cutter, and you have two objects. There is another way. Which is, so this example, it's exactly what I used in this case. Okay, so bool tool, you have two geometry. One is basically the cutter, the other one is the main object, and then I applied a bevel modifier. In this case, in the first one, I did this in a completely different way. I'll show you how. So let's move our object a little bit away. And let's create a new cylinder, same size, so we're not confused. Smooth, auto smooth, I want the top to be flat. Let's create our cutter, again a cube, again smaller than the cylinder. Let's move it a bit. Now we still apply a boolean. We don't need the bool tool for this. We don't need any automation. So we select the first bit, the first object, apply the boolean, select the second object, which is the cutter, difference. So as happened, even if we don't see that, if I hide the cube, you see that the boolean has happened. Now what we can do is select the cutter and apply the solidify modifier. Now if I hide the cube, you still see the panel. And you can also see a gap. It's not a beveled gap like in this case. In this case you have some sort of a profile here. You cannot see my, actually I realize you cannot see my cursor or my strokes. So let me do this. Now you can see my cursor. Apologies. So the two techniques, in this case you can see the bevel here. In this other case, sorry, in the white cylinder, you have a gap between the two. It's a gap which is given by, whoops, select the cube. It's given by the thickness of the solidify modifier. If I increase the thickness, I have more gap, which may be something that you would like to have in your model. But let's go back to a small gap, just a line. And a thing that you can do very interesting using the solidify modifier, it's a very quick way to shade, apply different materials. So if you have the main object, let's say that you have, again, let's apply this metal, it's terrible. Okay, a metallic red. And then you want the object, the whole object, to have also a black border here. Let's say that I want this border black because it's gonna be like, I don't know, some rubber, for example, of the panel. I'll add another material here and it's not gonna show yet. Then I select my cube, which is the cutter. It's still here, the cube. And I assign that material to the cube, and automatically that material will show only in the gap, on the gap. That also means that if I increase the gap, I have that material inside there. Another cool thing you can do using the same technique, instead of using this kind of red border, which is probably more clear to see when you have a white material. So now you have a black border, very definite black border. What you can do, let's say that you have a dark metal kind of material, and you want the second material to be a diffusion material with emission, material. Don't forget, it's not enough to add it to the object. You have also to go to the bit, to the gap that you want to make it that material, and select that material too. You can hide it. And now you have your emitter material around the panel that you're using. Also, don't forget that this panel can still be moved. I'm not gonna show the object here. I'm gonna move it with this transform information. You can see that I can still move the object and change the kind of effect I want to achieve. Let's go with a darker environment. You can see that I have emission coming from there. Let's make it even more evident. So let's go with my metal and remove the metal for now and make it very dark kind of material without any specular almost. You can see now I have a very dark surface with this emission here. Let's boost the emission material even more. Let's say we go from 1 to 2. It's still the same, and that's because I didn't enable bloom. But now you can clearly see I'm using Eevee, that emission part, it's basically a light. It's a light source. Let's go in total dark for a moment. We'll go into our world and we remove any ambient light. Let's have some light, but not much, so you can still see the shape, but only the emitter parts are visible. And of course you can change the light color to whatever you want. Going back to the geometry, you can still apply some beveling to this. It's not gonna work as you imagine, unfortunately, most of the time. As you can see, a lot of artifacts, so you have to reduce and you want to have it using angles, and you still have it similar to the other one. The difference is that in this one you have a different material that will basically highlight all the surface problem. If you have any surface problem, let's increment the segments. See, all of this problem can be solved, but it requires more work compared to this solution. Let's make it the same material so we have some direct comparison of which one it was the material 4. Let's make it material 4, both of them. Okay, let's bring it closer. Oops. So personally, I think that the two techniques are non-exclusive. you can use one or the other depending on the effect you want to achieve. If you need a separate panel, for example, this technique is better, and if you want some cleaner, tidy bevel, this technique is better. If you want some kind of I would say gap or emission, so a different material straight away. Hello, I can't read your name, but hello, welcome. And just to recap, we are showing different technique to do hard surface modeling. Specifically, we're using the slice technique in different ways. I've seen a few tutorials recently, other YouTubers showing one technique, it's better than the other, and myself included, I was like, yes, one technique is better, but after some playing, I realized that both techniques are useful in different situations, and mainly because, not much because of the speed to use one or the other, but because the results is different. This one, it's a very simple case. If we go back to this example, let's change this material so you can see better. See, these are very simple shapes that are okay to compare the two techniques, but when you start with different kind of shapes, with curves, for example, you start facing completely different issues. Even with this one, that it's quite simple, let me hide what I did. So after Boolean, the Boolean operation, I wanted some, okay, well, I have to hide the whole thing. I added some bevel to the two shapes, and this is what happened. Problems. Luckily enough, in Blender 2.82, it's what I'm using. I don't know if it's in 2.812, but it's a modifier that has been added in the latest release, which is the 2.82. They added this weld modifier, you find it here, and what it does, it's basically merge vertices that are close. So given some distance settings, you can merge vertices without going in edit mode, so as a modifier. So if I enable this, you will see that all the glitches will disappear. Now, this wasn't possible before, so it's something very cool that has been introduced with the latest releases of Blender, and it facilitates a lot what you can do without going in edit mode. As you can see, my edit mode is still a normal cube, and this is quite a complex geometry, and it's all non-destructive because it's all in the stack of modifier. So this problem, it's only fixable if you use the two object Boolean. So we have this one, which is basically the intersection between my sphere and my cube, and I have the cube, which is a difference between the sphere and the cube. I don't know if it's all clear what I'm saying. Let me select the other one, and it should be visible. This one, it's the object that it's basically cutting the cube. Feel free to ask. If I'm not clear enough, I can go over some examples. Another thing that I want to show that it's very cool when you use the Solidify technique, which is what I used here. I started with 2 cubes, and let me show the second one. So I had this cube that I used to cut the first one. Let me hide that. I'll select it and I'll hide it. And as you can see, I started with the bevel on that cube. If I remove the bevel, you can see the straight corner, the 90-degree corners. If I add the bevel, I can work at the profile of it. So I can add some segment, and I can actually change the offset to change how the bevel would look like. And I can quickly have completely different shapes. Another thing you can do, I never tried that, wish me luck, it may not work. I'm gonna add an array. I don't know if it's gonna work. It's very experimenting now. It's not this, and it's not that. It's not working. Okay, this was an experiment. It didn't work. Still, you can for example, change the profile of the bevel and decide how strong is gonna be the curve. It could even be reversed, but let's say that the profiles stay normal. A cool thing is that you now are able to have a custom profile with a few preset too. Let's say this one, for example. You can see that it's trying to follow this profile. Probably I don't have enough segments. Okay, now you can see that better. It's trying to follow this profile. Now it's following a different profile. Okay, from this side it's clear. And basically you can draw, moving these points, the shape of your bevel. This again, it's a new feature in the latest Blender. Molding steps, that's very cool too. Probably it's a bit too much. All of this cannot be done using the normal 2 object boolean. This can only be done if you use 1 boolean and hello Kenneth, welcome from Canada. That's great. I'm here in the UK. As you can probably tell from my accent, I am not originally British. I am British, but I'm Italian originally. And that's nice. We have someone from Russia, I guess. I hope I didn't say anything wrong. And we have 3D Illusions from I don't know where. Let us know. I really want to know who follows me. I have no idea. This is one of my first streaming, and I would like to connect with you guys. It's really appreciated that you joined me today. 6 people. I really have no idea who want to follow me, so that's very nice you're here. Welcome. We're talking about hard surface, different techniques, mainly using Boolean. I suggested to download Nottingham. Well, we are close enough. And USA, great. I like it. So we're talking about hard surface, different techniques. I suggest you to download Auto Boolean Operation, Bool Tool, which is a plugin included. And the guy that made the bevel after Boolean tutorial the other day. Oh, that's great. So I'm actually here trying the main reason why I started this streaming was because I was going to try to test, before doing any tutorial, I was going to test that plugin, which I installed already. But then I thought to give some background of what I'm doing. So I want to do a tutorial that it's a bit more complete and talk about problems of Booleans, what are the solutions, which partly I think can be solved with the weld modifier, which is a new modifier introduced recently, and some may be solved with that great plugin which is here. Oh, that's awesome, Kenneth. Thank you. Bevel after Boolean. I suggest actually, guys, go to 3D Illusions channel. He already posted a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, yesterday. I've seen that yesterday. He posted a nice video showing this this add-on. It's free for the moment. I believe it's still in a beta, and it's not included with Blender, but it's free. You can download it, and on 3D Illusions channel you can find the link. So go there and check it out. It's very cool. So the idea here is to prepare to test a bit the capabilities of Blender with hard surface, Boolean operation, weld tool, and we're gonna talk about bevel after Boolean. We can do another test, but as I said, I never tried that before. I only seen it once. I reckon there's a lot of potentiality, and I would like to see how can be added to a workflow for hard surface. Let's create a new scene, and let's start from scratch. Let's say that we have, again, let's go with the cylinder that we used before. So we have already a cylinder here. We can see different output. Start with a cylinder here, and then we'll have let's go with something easy to start with, and then we'll probably start with the sphere or some other object. Let's make it small. I want it to have in a non-precise position, because the Booleans works very well and bevel works very well where the geometry is very clean. Problem is when you start having curves and objects that are a bit more not organic but with a lot of detail, the bevel really struggles. So let's try not be too precise. You see here I will have a cut in the middle of a face, and here very close to an edge, which may create some problem, and that's exactly what I'm looking forward to. I'm not gonna use the Bool tool now because I don't want to introduce too many complications. Let me remove all the problems here. Select first object, Boolean. Yeah, difference is fine. Let's hide the cube. And now, well, first of all, we already have some issue here, which can probably be fixed somehow, but let's see how it will behave just using this bevel after Boolean. I imagine, I don't know what new object is. It's very interesting. It seems to have a lot of functionalities. Showing render, I don't care about showing render right now. Flip directions, symmetrize. new objects, pipe radius. I don't know what pipe is talking about, but let's start from the top. I should have probably read some instructions, but I like to experiment. Let's click on bevel, and wow. Okay, let's go back a second and let's set the normal. Oops. Let's set the normal to flat, so we don't get too confused. Okay, and this way I can see the geometry much better. Bevel, and this is what happens. I can still change the settings. That's very good. Probably we can go back to 1. Operation difference, that's correct. Operation presets. It's very interesting. Bevel profile. Doesn't look any good, the result. Oh yes, I see. Okay, I can still add some geometry on the cutting box, I guess. Still here. Add a bevel modifier to that. Okay, well, let's add geometry without changing the geometry. Really, I would like to subdivide this like a few times. Hi, Colmax Entertainment. Yes, it's modeling stuff. Today we are reviewing some hard surface techniques in Blender, which is a free modeling stuff software. And it's mainly modeling today, and we're not going to talk about materials or animation. It's merely modeling and specifically using the hard surface technique, which is meant to be a technique to model something non-organic, usually objects with straight edges and very clean edges. It's the edges that need the bevel. Okay, let's start that. Let's add some. So I will remove this and I will add bevel to my cube, which is not. Sorry, Colmax, I've been too descriptive. Yes, it's about hard surface modeling. Okay, let me remove this and go back to before applying the bevel after Boolean. So we have our cube, we'll add the bevel, and now possibly, well, first of all, the bevel worked actually quite well. Okay, thank you, 3D Illusion. So let's give like 4 segments, and yeah, angle, that's right. And then apply the bevel. Oh, wow, I'm still not convinced it's working too well, or not as I had in mind, at least. It's an interesting result, but it's not what I thought. I have to undo. It would be amazing if I could see who's the people on this channel, or when someone joins, so I can explain what's going on. I'm sorry, guys, I'm totally new to the streaming thing. I did tutorial and I do live lessons too, but I never did a streaming, so I am not completely familiar with the technology. Also, there is a bit of lag. Let's say that I remove this again. Let's difference bevel. It should work like this. Colmax, no, not yet. My tutorial at the moment are, I would say, not for beginners, but they are not that advanced yet. I actually been asked to do something more basic. I don't know how many people are really going into 3D camera tracking with Blender. It may be something that it's worth exploring. Thank you for the tip. I would eventually touch that subject too. I do video making is my main job, so it's something that I would like to show how to do too. So 3D camera tracking. At the moment, just a little update. I'm testing this bevel after boolean plugin, add-on, free add-on for Blender, which 3D Illusions showed in one of his tutorial. The bevel radius is too big in the bevel. We'll try 0.02. Let's try 0.02. And actually, 3D Illusions, it's helping me to, is showing me how to use this plugin, which I can see the geometry. It's actually not completely, well, it's not good really. it's not working as I thought. But again, I have a feeling, I can't remember your name, 3D Illusion, but I have a feeling that this plugin will work very well with very simple shape, but in the moment we have some more complex situation like this one, is not going to give a good result. For example, let me move this a little bit around. Well, I cannot move it anymore. Yeah, the bevel is still there, as you can see, and it's not that big either. I can make it smaller. Let's go with 0.3. I can't find the boolean anymore. Let me go back. Let me undo. I'm going actually to have a new fluid using Manta tutorial. I'm just struggling with my computer, that it's not the newest one here at home, and with simulation it takes a long time, but it's really simple doing very realistic simulation with the latest 2.82 and over, using the new engine Manta. And it's amazing. I mean, it's really cool and fun to work with. But I'm working a tutorial for that too, so it will be released in the next weeks or so. Going back to 3D Illusions, sorry if I didn't answer. I'll go back. Okay, let's go back here for a second. Let's go to our cutter and let's reduce the size of the bevel, something like that. And now let me hide this again. I'll try again to apply the bevel after boolean, and still the result is not Great. Normals, transfer normals. Now, if it doesn't transfer the normal, and then I'll change the shading, it's actually the result, it's kind of better, but still not perfect. So let me go back. I don't know why it's creating a lot of weird curves on the corners. Oh, thank you, Colmax. Really, I had no idea. I hoped I could see who's a subscriber and who follows me, and I really don't. So I totally appreciate the fact that someone may have found my channel useful. I've been following tutorials since they were written on paper. When I started with 3D in my time, I'm kind of old kind of guy. In my time they were on paper, so you would basically read the tutorial a piece every week or so, and then there was internet, you could still read the tutorial. Now there are tutorials on video, it's so easy, and I thought, well, I can give something back after years and years of getting from other people. So it's super cool that someone is having some benefit of my time spent for this tutorial. Going back to this hard thing, because it's not working really. Let's select the cylinder once more, bevel, and it creates this weird thing. 3D Illusions, I think you can see that while the bevel itself it's nice and clean, then on these beats it's like there's not enough geometry on the main model. Smooth patch, I don't know what is it. It may work. It actually worked. Okay. This plugin, it's very powerful. It's also not, for me at least, it's not very intuitive to understand what these things would do. Turn off the subdivide patch to 2. Oh, you know this plugin so well. Subdivide patch to 2. So I'll put back the smooth to none and subdivide patch to 2. See, it's still somehow there. But I think if I smooth this, it will solve the problem. No. Oh, I see. I see what it's doing. Okay. Oh no, I removed it by mistake. Okay, let's go back. Let's add 2 subdivides. And the bevel on the cutter the bevel on the cutter. Oh, I see. But this bit is not from the cutter. I really don't have that bit in the cutter. No, Max, I'm Italian. Yeah, I'm British, but yeah, I'm Italian, really. I'm really intrigued by this bevel after boolean. I'm pretty sure it has a lot of... It's very powerful, but I really need to study this a bit more before doing a tutorial about it. I'm pretty sure that if we start with a simple geometry, I can probably, with a simpler geometry, I can understand what's going on better. So if we go with the cube, we have a lot of stuff now in the scene, but that's fine. Let's go with the cube. If you don't subdivide to 8, but Yeah, I believe that would work quite well, but then it will create a lot more um, geometry and faces and vertices that I really was trying to kind of avoid. Especially with hard surface, I would add those detail probably at the end. So on top of the bevel, I will add detail with, I don't know, probably a subdivision or another bevel. But I don't want all this geometry to be created just after Boolean. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm saying. Only on the patch. Okay, let's go back. Let's try this quickly, as I really am intrigued by this. So let's try this bevel, and then subdivide patch. Let's increase that. Yeah, I see what's happening. It's adding a lot of geometry though, right? Yeah, look here. I mean, it's not much on one cut, but if I have, I don't know, 12, 20 cuts on a shape to have something very detailed, that's a lot. I mean, compared to this, I don't know if it's a lot. I think it may work for something even more organic. Turn off refine to keep the geometry and the corners. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, let's try this. Bevel. Turn off refine. And it will distribute the edges around the entire patch. I see. I'm not sure I know where refine is. Right? Oh, wow. Keep scrolling. I had no idea. Okay, so if I remove refine, it actually works quite well. Oh, finally. That's great. It's working. Yeah, that's really, really great. Now the shape, it's exactly what I wanted or what I expect in the beginning. A very nice, smooth bevel. Don't know about the geometry. It's still a bit heavy on the corners, but it's nice. It's let's see the difference with refine and refine off. It's actually refine. It's better. It's optimizing the geometry. And then now I can, oh, that's great. Oh, thank you so much. I will certainly add a link directly to your tutorial or channel for this help, because it's like you're teaching me right while I'm doing a tutorial streaming, and you are teaching me. That's great. Guys, follow this guy. I know you're only 5 people, but he's very cool. He's helpful. He's I didn't see many videos. I hope you're gonna do more, because they're gonna be quality. It's very, very good, informative content, and they're not lazy tutorial. So I like lazy tutorials, are very fun to follow, and to give ideas and inspiration, but sometimes you have to fight with problems like this, with the bevel, spending time trying to understand what's going on with my corner, with my geometry, and we need to know what's the solution instead of um, taking shortcuts. So I was going to remove the subdivide patch, and now I can see with refine, oh, without refine, oh, but that's it. I think I'm pretty cool. It's good to know that I have a number of parameters. I want to know this guy, why haven't released that this plugin should be included in Blender probably. It's amazing. Look how neat is this bevel. And so I have refined that it's basically reducing the number of polygons. And without refine, it will keep the image in the original geometry. I want this as a modifier. I don't want this as a add-on that then will disappear. I want to keep all these parameters and keep editing while using this. So at the end of the day, I believe that bevel after Boolean, it works very well, or it's very powerful if you want to apply at the end of a model to just refine a lot of edges. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's a destructive kind of modeling. Once it's done, once you click somewhere else, it's gone, and there's nothing else you can do. I don't think you can call it back. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that if you're doing something else to this geometry, it's gone. Oh, I wish I could say that as good as you said that. Yeah, refine, it's basically the distribution of edges and geometry on the full length of the bevel, which is, it's great. It's really great. It's a lovely add-on to add some non too sharp edge. And now with smooth shade, look how clean it looks. And let's add, oh, sorry. There's some problem with the geometry. I probably we can adjust the normal. Still some problem with the geometry, but yeah, I as I said, it's a beta, it's free, and it's a great help in many cases. It needs some guideline. Probably all the settings should be organized in a way that you start from a simpler geometry and then you can activate finer finer adjustment. But I can't really complain. I mean, you explained to me this very quickly, and the result, it's very good. So let's see how can I get the same result, for example, with the normal, without using this plugin. I doubt I can have the same result, especially because this is limited to the cut done through the Boolean. I mean, that's the name of the plugin. It's Boolean after cut. While if I want to get a bevel like this after Boolean, I will have to select a vertex group that I want to have the bevel to work with. So it's gonna take more time, of course. This is a very cool way to have a bevel after Boolean. If you want to keep the non-destructive workflow, I don't suggest using this. But once you have finished with the main modeling and you want to make some parts, probably you can use it in a hybrid way. You can use that for some of the objects, and it's good having options, and then I believe everyone can choose one way or another to work. I wonder if I can recall the options once that's exactly what the plugin does. So the add-on creates vertex group where there's the Boolean operator, which is what I would do manually. So it's kind of optimize the process. It's great stuff. I would probably include it in the as I said in my next tutorial, where I'm going to show this technique of slicing in different way. That's really great. Let's try the same plugin, the same add-on with a different geometry, much simpler geometry. Let's see what happens with very low poly objects. Oops. Now I'm asking a lot to this plugin, but I'm curious. Of course, it works like a normal bevel in this case. Yeah, this refine should be unselected normally. I don't know why it was selected, because it will give, well, the 2 times I tested it gave bad results. It's probably good when you have a lot of subdivision, but usually when you're doing a hard surface and you are not destructive way, or you need a quick bevel, you don't have a lot of geometry, so it should be, by default, should be unselected for hard surface. If you're doing something more organic now, I wonder if that's better to be selected. So let's say that we have this, and let's apply modifier. So skip Boolean. No, let's apply. I don't know if it worked. Yeah, applied everything. So we have this model, and let's add some subdivision. That's a terrible shape. I don't know what's that, but that's not really the point. Let's smooth it before that. Okay, that's not where I wanted to go, but here we are. The other way with this is that both the cut and the object being cut and tuned into bevel edges. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't say it's a problem. It's more a feature of this add-on. I mean, the name is bevel after Boolean, so it makes kind of sense. So let's try to use this very kind of dense geometry and use a sphere. Okay, let's start with something easier. I said I want this sphere to be embedded in my object. That's not hard surface anymore, I'm afraid. It's just we are experimenting with this add-on. Okay, let's select the first one, Boolean with the second one. And well, let me actually increase. Okay, and let me hide these two. Now I have this problem, and now possibly, yeah, high poly. Yeah, it's more for high poly modeling. Let me click this. I'm afraid my computer, you can, I don't know if you can hear, but this wind noise on the background is the fun of my iMac. It's really asking me to retire. It's been 6 years working for me. It still works, so and the monitor is great, so I'm not gonna change it anytime soon, but I would like to buy another workstation. So let's see how it behaves here, and it works marvel. I love it. I really love this. Look at this. That's great. I believe actually this add-on, it's perfect for watertight geometry for 3D printing, for example. While with our surface, sometimes we don't have really all the parts of the geometry that are not visible. In this case, you can work with solid geometry that are watertight, so there's no gap, there's no unconnected vertices. They don't have any non-manifold geometry. And in 3D printing, it's better having a higher resolution for details, most of the time, not always. So let's say that if you're doing design objects, you can create very organic and smooth surfaces with a lot of bevels, and it worked. It worked very well. I'm going to go back to show the result because it's amazing. This is what's happened after a Boolean, and apply bevel after Boolean, and it will bevel only, that's the main thing. It will create for you the vertex group that needs to be beveled, so you don't have to care about the whole geometry. Let's see how we can increase the radius. Wait, that's a bit too much. That's a bit too much, I'm sorry. Let's see if it can be refined, maybe. Yeah, with refine, it will increase the geometry. There's still some problem here and there, but I can increase the patch subdivide by 2. Yeah, and that's gone. I still don't know why I have the geometry inside. That's a lot of geometry, but again, it's not a big deal. These days you can still decimate after that. Calculate outside. Let's see if smooth. I don't know if you're talking about the smooth of the add-on or the normal modifier. The modifier is not doing much. And I believe it's because I still have the Boolean active. Nah, I don't have it. I'll try the other option after that, because it's very powerful. It's so nice that we have so many options these days for modeling and all these add-ons that are built to facilitate users, and they are free. I would really like to shake the hands of everybody doing free software, that it's so powerful today. It's unbelievable, especially considering that other software, I'm not gonna name other softwares because it's not nice, but I'm certified with like big names in software, and yes, it's true, their interface was way ahead of Blender 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but today really, I don't know, Blender has almost everything we need. The interface has really is mature. So I really am glad for all the works put in this free software, both from the Blender team and add-ons, free add-ons developers. So what I wanted to do with this, I don't remember anymore. I got sidetracked. Oh yeah, what I wanted to try, it's actually using the weld. Let me try something first to smooth a little bit. There's still a lot of, well, there's a lot of vertices, so smoothing the add-on. I wonder if I can use the smooth once I close the thing. That's the problem I have now. Fly modifier, remove modifiers, show hide modifiers. That's cool. Show and render. No, so when I create, now I don't have any bevel, but the next time I'll try with the smooth. What I want to try, it's actually reduce the geometry using the weld, the new modifier in Blender. Yes, they were in the sphere used to cut. Let's see with the weld what's happened if I increase this. That's too much. Strangely enough, it's not caring about. I'm pretty sure I have vertex group here. Okay. Oops. Let's go to weld. Let's go with decimate and see what happens. Well, my mistake. I had to probably follow the smooth. I really have no idea how to fix this now. Done. Okay, so of course I still have a very dense surface, but the normals at least are displayed correctly. Well, it's not the best material to show this. Let's go with something more reflective. That also will show all of these problems. Now this with welds should be fixable. Nope. But yeah, this is the problem, guys. When you don't have a nice topology, this is what happens, and this is not nice at all. Look at this. Okay, I'll go back to hard surface because I'm very fascinated with this bevel after Boolean. I believe it's more oriented to high poly and organic modeling. Let's say character. I see a lot of possibility when you have, for example, one arm, one limb in general connected to the rest of the body, and you want to create a smooth transition. Let's say you have two shapes that really don't match, and you want to create this nice bevel between the parts. You can probably use this and it will be very helpful. So I'll go back to our hard surface. Again, a big thank you to you. I don't know if you can share with us your name so I can add the name to your nick. I'm also very curious to see the full image of your profile picture. I was very intrigued by that. It looks like something uh, very much fun. I can go to channel from here. Okay, it says that the only people in the chat that's us, it's 3D Illusion and I. So I wonder what concurrent viewers means. Probably that was the moment where we had the most people. I don't know. Michael, that's cool. I'm not on Facebook, to be completely fair. I use LinkedIn for work, and then I have other profiles. I don't know if you are on any other place. I'm gonna stalk you. Let me check. I found you. Well, I'm gonna connect with you because I think we are colleagues in a way, and we may. Oh, that's weird. We are already connection on LinkedIn, and I didn't know that. I believe that your channel was suggested to me on LinkedIn, and that's how I found you. We probably connected some time ago, but I'm on LinkedIn since ever. Yeah, we are connection on LinkedIn. That's so random. That's so very random. Yeah. So, well, yeah, reality is that on LinkedIn, I use uh, my real name, I would say, while Daniel Oakfield is something that I'm using, well, since 10 years or so, and it's my stage musician. I publish music with that name, and I use it online, and eventually everybody is calling me Daniel, because it's easier here, and my surname is complicated, so I will phase out my real name even on my professional channels. But yeah, we're we're already contacts there. That's great. That's great. Internet is such a small town. Let's go back to this. I don't know if there is anyone else. Let me check if I can see the participants. That's only us. That's cool. So I don't know if you knew already. Well, let me remove this for a second. Oh, actually, but, okay. So I don't know if you knew already this Bool tool. I found it only recently, and I found it actually very cool because it automatically hides the cutter or hide the other objects, and you can still select it. You can see the wireframe of it, but it's not in the way like a normal boolean. It should really be this should be all included in the modifier. I call it like boolean, advanced boolean. I don't know how should they call it if they don't want to modify the normal boolean, but I find it very easy to use. and me. Hi, by the way. Hello, Murad. Welcome. I don't know how it works here. I still see in my participant window on. Okay, you just arrived. Cool. I wish I could have everything open, like the participants and the chat. Yeah, I know I see 8 concurrent viewers, but I don't see your names in the list of people. So I don't know, guys. Where are you guys? Let me know, where are you? I don't see you. So BullTool, it's a very interesting add-on. It's included in Blender. It's already in the bundle. You just need to activate it, and will let you create Boolean on the fly. It's like, really, you create the first object, create the second object, and then you decide what you want to do, difference, and it doesn't work because you have to select the. Yeah, I still have problem remembering all the shortcut because I'm on a Mac, while at work I use a PC. So I have a very small keyboard here, and I struggle. I don't have the, for example, the number pad, and I don't know, probably because of where the control is, I don't use the shortcut here much. Also, I don't have the stroke viewer, so you don't see what I'm using as shortcut. When I do tutorial, I had that enabled to show people what I'm using as shortcut, but that add-on basically make the refresh of the 3D window twice compared to the normal one, and my computer really can't do it. So I prefer going directly where the tool is. Eventually, someone wants to use the shortcut, they just need to hover on the tool and see what is the shortcut. So I'm going to use this for some time until I buy a new machine, really, because here at home, a new machine for home for this tutorial, because it's really easier for me, for my computer, for people. Again, how to use it. Anyway, you have to select first the cutter, which is the opposite that happens with the Boolean modifier. First the cutter, and then the main object. Hello, Dijon injection. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So this may be the reason. That's amazing. I really thank you. As I said, I'm new doing streaming. It's kind of a test. I spend a lot of time in Blender, even if I'm not doing tutorial. If I'm not recording tutorial, I'm still studying, testing, modeling for projects I have. I have a bunch of projects that I've never shared, as everybody here. So now I'm trying to doing this session where I'm playing with Blender and testing new add-on. As I said to other people here before, 3D Illusions posted a tutorial about this bevel after Boolean add-on. It's a free add-on. I was going to test it because I want to include it in a hard surface modeling. He actually was very helpful. 3D Illusions was very helpful. So even if you're on a TV, I would suggest to go and check his channel. It's a new channel, and there's very clear and interesting content already. So no expectations, but I believe that if 3D Illusions keeps posting this kind of content, it will be one of the most professional but not boring and clear, straight to the point, non-lazy tutorial channel. So thank you for letting me know that there's people watching, so these viewers exist. And even if they are not in the chat. Thank you. It's a new experience for me. But going back to our bool tool, let's go back to the bool tool. You select the cutter, you select the other one, and then you start difference, for example, and you have your first cut, then shade smooth, and it's terrible, of course, as you would expect from something like that. You can probably add, let's add the material just to understand what's going on. And then next, what I'm gonna do is probably add some subsurface, but still it will keep all of this stuff. Doesn't matter now. What I'm gonna do is add I'm gonna duplicate this object, and I'm gonna change from difference to intersect. So now I have the two parts, and as you can see, it's not great for this kind of geometry. While using this technique, it's fine when you have a lot of geometry well laid out, or when you have flat surfaces. In the moment you have curves and you are cutting with curves on curves, even if it's a mesh, but still it's going at a number of different angles, the result is not great. What you can do is still, for example, subdivide the two, and still the result is going to be terrible. So it's a shortcut, it's not perfect. Let's remove one and see how can we fix this. And my first suggestion is trying with the weld, which is supposed to help in these cases, not always work. But yeah, it's working in this case. Let's clean up a lot the geometry. It's still very low poly, of course, but let's apply, for example, the boolean, and let's clean up this mess. It's really, really terrible. It's really not the way I would do a cut like this. So I will go back and I'll show you what I would do instead. We have this sphere. Let's create the second sphere. Select the first one, boolean, select the second one, select this second one, and then on the second one we apply a solidify. We'll hide the second one, and still we have a messy result. Is it a bit better? Probably. Still very low poly, but we can at this point add the subdivision. It's still a bit good, but it's not ideal. Let's try with the weld that I will add before the subdivision. I don't see how in this situation you could use Boolean in a nice way. You really need to, once you apply everything, go in and fix this situation. So probably even before applying subdivision. You need to fix this geometry. Look at this. This is really not good. Now if we have this Boolean, let's try using now. Actually, now that we've seen a bit how it works, let's use bevel after Boolean. Wow. So remove refine. Nice. Subdivide patch is still there. It's such a messy result. Okay, it's cleaning up. It's not ideal, but we're getting there. Maybe smooth patch. Can we do this? Nope. Okay, try turning on subdivide. Oh gosh, I did this again. Bevel. Try to turn on subdivide patch. Nah. It's cleaner. It's certainly cleaner, but there's still a lot of problems going on. It's not just about the normals. There is a geometry issue. So for people that are not in the chat, 3D Illusions is suggesting me how to use this new add-on called Bevel After Boolean, which is a free add-on, by the way. And I'm taking a moment to read his suggestion. I can get the same result without two objects. The Bevel After Boolean options has a slice checkbox at the top that turns a difference into T panel. Smooth patch option, and gotta fix that. Smooth patch option. Well, it didn't. Or remove doubles option in the patch parameters. Okay, we're getting there. I like this. Simplify. Nope. Well, no. Between 1 and 8 smooth. Let's try with 4. And let's reduce the bevel even more. Oh, sorry, this is the profile. Oh no. Oh gosh. And this is the profile. The profile can stay 0.5. I have to go back and redo this. 0.05. The bevel radius even less than that. The bevel radius, it's very, very tiny, and it's not giving me love. But I can activate the slice. Ooh, The slice will create a slice object actually in between them. Such a powerful plugin, but I believe I'm not really blaming the plugin. The plugin is very powerful, and the reason why we have all these artifacts and glitches, it's because it's a very complicated operation, having all this angle trying to cut another surface at a multitude of angles and keeping the geometry and the normal as we want, which is probably not what the algorithm does. So I believe that we need something like this. It would be amazing if there was some probably presets. I know there are here presets, but if they were included, I could understand what's going on, like a presets for I don't know, organic or high poly, a preset for low poly, flat surfaces. Maybe reduce the bevel width, and I did, and it's very tiny. You can hide the panel you made manually. Try hitting reset by default. Nice. That's not what I call it's interesting. I love it, but that's not exactly what I called hard surface. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie Melancholia. That's exactly what I have in mind. That's beautiful. Let's go back. Let's try again. Restore default, and let's try to remove refine. I don't know why I'm seeing the other object. It should not be visible. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst hard surface tutorial you can find on YouTube. Please subscribe to have fun next time with another tutorial where I show you something completely not relevant to the title. It's not clickbaity. We are just experimenting. I'm having issues here, guys. Support me. I need your help. So 3D Illusions in the chat is explaining to me how to use this add-on, which is so much fun. I'm going to thank you, that guy that created this. It's really good. I really like it. It's just complicated. So for me, it's complicated for me, and I'm complicated too. So you can change the operation back to difference in the, of course, why I'm using, of course, I resetted the defaults, going back, and it's not union, it's different. I feel so dumb. Thank you again, Michael. Gosh, yeah, well, I didn't even know there was the operator here. Why would it change the operator? It's, for me, it should keep the boolean that was originally there. So okay, so what we did before was increasing. Next tutorial, modeling a cube. Wait, I know that, Blifton. Look, I know exactly how to make a cube. Sorry, I'm digressing a second, but I need to show my skills to people because I don't want to lose authority, my amazing authority on the channel. So I'm going to show you quickly how to make a cube. We start with the plane, of course. Then probably the quickest way I can imagine is to, okay, so you select the vertex one by one. Then you press E, and then you press Z, and then you press 2. Ta-da! Okay. Let's go back to a serious behavior. Let's go back to this terrible object. And let's see how to make this working nice and clean. Actually, next tutorial, Blyfton, is gonna be how to make a sphere with the same technique of the cube. It's gonna take, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours, and it's also gonna be useless, but you're gonna learn what you should not do with Blender. Okay, let's go back. Let's make it work. I wonder if changing the refine system, it will change count. Kind of like it, but that's not the result we want. And I didn't even explore these pipe settings. I have no idea what's the pipe setting. Hang in there. Yes, great. Yeah, I'm actually sweating with this add-on, guys. So Blyfton, this add-on is called Bevel after Boolean. You can find the link. I could give you the link, I guess, but I don't know. If you hang on a second, I'll show you. I'll give you the link actually. So Bevel after Boolean. There is a tutorial on 3D Illusions channel. I really suggest to follow 3D Illusions, as a great tutorial about that. And yeah, this is the main we can all learn from my mistake. Thank you. That's a good idea for a playlist, like my mistakes in Blender, and will be probably the biggest playlist on my channel. That's a monstrosity. It's not a mistake. Okay, so going back to that. I'm kind of lost. I forgot what I was doing. The patch, remove doubles. That's a lot of removing. Now, if you want to create an abstract ring for special effects, just start using this add-on. While you want to do something else, you can achieve amazing results, and then recycle these problems and do something amazing out of them. Okay, Blyfton, I would like you to understand that actually we used earlier this add-on to get very good results, and it's just a matter of fine-tuning the settings. And this one, it's kind of a complicated situation when you do hard surface, how to cut properly without adding an enormous amount of faces and vertices. Restore differences, bevel radius. I feel we are getting there, but not completely yet. Bevel segment. Are we having too many segments? Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna explore each single setting until we nail it. This must be the most frustrating, I must say, guys, that having people spending time with me doing this makes the whole experience with I feel a lot of pressure on me trying to be as good as in my, my tutorial, or but I'm really experimenting in this moment. It's a new add-on. I never use it. 3D Illusions is the expert on this add-on and is giving me a lot of help. So we did another example and it worked. At the end, I understood why it worked there. This one, it's a more complicated topology and it's not working very well. But I'm pretty sure that once we nail this, because we're gonna nail this maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in 1 year, but once we nail it, this will be a very, very quick way to cut neat geometries out of more mixing complex shapes. You are very, very right, Blifton. I would not hate tutorials that show things working perfectly, because some people really master the tools, and it's actually, from my point of view, I worked in 3D with different software for so many years, and when I still see very young people, maybe it's their first experience with the software, there are brilliant YouTubers that are doing amazing thing. I mean, I love Nathan Ducky 3D because of his skills and his creativity, and he knows what to do, and it does that in a very simple way. It looks like everything is so simple for him. It's not for me. So I really find them inspiring. Did you do? Okay, so 3D Illusions, for who's not in the chat, made a 30 seconds video showing what I am trying to do. I just realized that one thing that we may do here, it's just having a line, a cut, a straight line. We don't need to use a sphere, right? So I don't even need to use this tool. Ideally, actually, now I want to try, but I see that we have these terrible UV spheres, and then we create just a, a cube. And then using nope, 1, 2 difference. Nope, it's slice. We're gonna have the same problem, exactly the same problem. Let me remove this. I want to see if the geometry is much better now. So now in theory, with bevel after boolean, secret slice. No, let's do the bevel. Oh gosh, I received the worst error ever. Modifiers cannot be applied to multi-user data. Okay. Second way to do this. It's using the normal boolean. Then I'm gonna duplicate it, and this one is gonna be intersect. Now it should work. Okay. I made it. So, okay, I feel very, very dumb. What I was doing is basically using two add-ons that are not, I would say they are not compatible. I don't know how, if this can be done in any other way, but this was the quickest way I could. So I have two objects. One has a difference mode and the other one is the intersect mode. It's the cutter as an intersect mode. Okay, so let's go back. Let's do this from scratch. So if you just connected, we're gonna show in a non-perfect way how to do this knit cut with a low poly geometry. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Let's go to a new scene, empty. I'm gonna have a look at 3D Illusions video. I don't know, did you publish the video already? I'm actually gonna check on your channel if you publish it, so I can link it somehow. I'll try. Okay, I don't know if you publish it. Probably it's it's unlisted. If you want to link your video, I really think you should. Oh, I believe that in the chat is not showing any link, so I don't see your link. It's like YouTube, it's probably censoring the links outside YouTube in the chat. If you could, I would probably publish on YouTube as unlisted. This way you can publish it on the chat. Otherwise, YouTube, it's really removing any link that it's, I don't know, the competitor. They don't want to help the competitor to. But before I watch that, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you were watching before, how I solved that problem of a clean cut. First of all, I have to solve the problem with my interface that it's going crazy. Let's start from, don't save anything. Okay, good. Let's see that we have a sphere, a smooth sphere, and we have a second sphere here. Select the first one. We have to use the Boolean modifier. If you use the, oh, where is it? It's gone. Okay. If you use the bool tool, this technique is not gonna work. We're gonna show how to use bevel after Boolean, but you cannot use it in combination with the bool tool. So you want to use the normal modifier, and it makes sense because the bool tool, it's basically an automation system that will do something under the hood that is not in the modifier stack. So if you want to use bevel after Boolean that reads directly from the modifier stack, you need to use just the modifier. Some add-on may work, some not, but for this specific example, we're gonna just use the modifier stack. As usual, we select the first object, add the Boolean modifier, select the object is gonna be the cutter. You start having a lot of problems, of course. Hide the cutter, we don't need it. We duplicate, stay in place, and change the difference to intersect. So I still cannot see any link. It may be disabled. Can you guys not send link in the chat? I don't have any moderation tool here, so it must be automatically that doesn't allow people to link. Oh, wait a second. I can make you moderators, I believe. No. I don't know how to do it. Okay, so you are kind of confirming that if we use the non-destructive bool tool, it will work. Probably we were using the other one and it wasn't working properly, because right now it works, as you said in English, works like a charm. Okay, I'll go and get it from your channel so I can link it back. Give me a sec. The illusions. So I'll get the link and then you can set it unlisted again. I still don't see your video. Oh, here it is. Wait a second. I grab the link. So this link, it's basically 3D Illusions, which is who is helping me with this bevel after Boolean test. He posted a way. It's a quick video and it seems to be working very well. He's one of the guys that knows how to do things. I'm just improvising. So once you do the Boolean, anyway, let's start with the basics. We do it with the modifier, Boolean modifier, duplicate the second Boolean, and we use one as a difference, the other one as intersect. I hid the cutter. We have a lot of problems. Select the first object. In the add-on bevel after Boolean, bevel, and it gets completely clean. I'm not changing any of the parameters. Select second object, bevel, done. And you would argue that, oh, but you can achieve the same result with subdivision. Well, if you look at the geometry, no, this is clearly a bevel. And again, if I go back, if I try a bevel on this geometry, I won't achieve the same result. Let's copy the whole thing, okay? Let's copy on a side to see the results, the difference in results. Let's hide this, hide that. Now this one is click, click. It's destructive, but it worked. Yeah, welcome back, Colmax. And look at the geometry. Now, if you want to achieve the same thing with, let's say, subdivision surface, well, you need to add a lot of subdivision and the border won't be anyway clean. If you want to, well, let's go back. And, or let's say, oh, I'm gonna use bevel and it will work perfectly. Well, you're gonna have bevels everywhere unless you select the border or you go in edit mode and do everything manually. It will take ages. You can select the angle probably method. Let's see how clean is compared to the other one. It is not anywhere as clean as this. See, but you can add some segments. Yeah, I can, but really it's still not as clean. It's not as nice. Plus, when you use this bevel after boolean, you have much more control on the profile, on how you want the bevel. It's super cool. And again, thank you so much, 3D Illusions. I knew that was going to be a nice add-on, and I have to change my mind. I said at the beginning it's not perfect for hard surface, and actually I was proven wrong. It's great. So yeah, this one is the best method, not just for look the mess at this compared to how clean and neat he is. More detail when we have the bevel, and it's so much nicer. Try to do a difference. So we have another suggestions. Try to do a difference only on the sphere, and not the second sphere for the intersection. Then into bevel after boolean, and click the slice checkbox near the okay. I don't know if I understood the whole idea, but we'll try. Go back to oops. Still will be able to. Oh, the boolean is gone. Okay, let's go back. Let's redo it. It's easier. So let's try, as you suggest, the normal boolean. Oh, sorry, you said the non-destructive. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna work, but I may be wrong. Okay, it still work. I don't know what was going on before. So we'll go back. We have just a difference. And then we do bevel after boolean. Oh gosh. And then we do intersect here. We do just a difference, no circumstance state, and into bevel after boolean, and click the slice checkbox. Okay. A couple of subdivisions. Nope. Just difference and slice. Difference and slice. Let's go back a second. Okay, so let's go back to the start. Bool tool, difference, oops, there we go, bevel, difference, that's difference, and slice. That's all. Right? That's it. It worked. Amazing. I'm really, really impressed. It's destructive, unfortunately, but yeah, and more subdivision I imagine in the patch probably. No, the patch doesn't really change. Oh. Okay, so let's add some subdivision and then we turn the slice off and on. We're not talking about the bevel segments. That's a cool thing. I really like the sharp bevels. Just difference and slice. That's what I did in the beginning. Then I added subdivision. That's where you add subdivision, and then I turn this off and on. I don't see any difference if I go 0 on, off and on. Nope. I should remove this probably. Nope. Very confused still by this add-on. It's deep. It reminds me of all the physics simulation where there are so many parameters and you only know a few of them and you don't dare touching all the other parameters. Some settings are very obscure to me. Let's go back. Let's redo this properly. 1, 2, Control minus. Didn't work, of course. That's not the right. It's numpad and I don't have it there. Okay, let's do it manually. So let's try this. Then go here, bevel, too low poly to get it smooth, although you could try turning down subdivide patch and increase smooth. Fair enough. Let's do 32, I don't know how much is that. Smooth is not helping. I believe my blender is crashed. No, here it's back. And I believe 196 subdivision, it's a very high parameter. Let's say 8. It's probably doable. Remove slice. Going back. Nah, it's not doing much. I'm missing something here. But what I want to do actually, it's having a very low yeah, but that was my point. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm happy with this result. In a low poly model, this result is more than acceptable. Still, there should be a way to increase the patch, it's on this resolution, it's only the resolution of the bevel actually, so no surprise that it doesn't change much the profile. So the normals, you can see the segments here, but actually the bevel itself, it's very good. I wonder if from here there's a way to keep this angle right. So if I remove auto smooth, or if I oh, that's the bevel. I wonder if I can I wonder if I can keep this profile with hard edges. And I'm really curious about these pipe settings. I'm very scared to click it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't know what's the pipe, what pipes is talking about. I'm really not sure what is changing, if anything. Pipe twist. Refine, it's very cool because helps with the topology. It clean up the topology in a very nice way. Can keep the regional too, or work by distance. I would keep the regional to make it as low poly correct possible. So you can use bevel after boolean to create pipes. Okay, if you have curves. I wonder why these two add-ons are merged. That could be a completely different add-on. Well, anyway, so I'm not gonna go into the pipe side of things. Give me a second. Yes, transmit this. Well, modifier would work. What I am doing right now, it's actually trying not to use the weld modifier. Not because I don't want to use it, but I was testing another add-on that helps with the bevel. It creates a bevel that it's easier to handle and has more settings compared to the bevel modifier. It will create automatically vertex groups, which are perfect. And I wonder if I can, okay, let's say that we have this geometry and I want actually the bevel to be, if I remove the bevel groups, kind of clean geometries. I assume that with a subdivision we solved everything. That's almost perfect. It's still kind of not what I want, but okay, anyway, let's go back to the low poly one. I want to yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, let's go back a little bit. I want to try something else because I was removing vertex group that actually I need. So let's try again. Let's make it fast with kind of different shape this time. Cylinder. Let's use a sphere. Then let's do the usual difference. Then we go here, bevel. Oops, my bad. Difference. Bevel. So many problems now. Yeah. No, I get what's happened now. Anyway, now I'm trying with a different geometry, and the results are, of course, given the settings are the same, the results are not ideal. It's not what I was expecting, let's say so. But we still can do in the old way. So having the other one as intersect should work better without the slice. Ah, no, not really. Yeah, I understand that the cylinder doesn't have them, but the point of this add-on is not to add the bevel. I don't know, I don't find it overly intuitive sometimes. It's still working. It's just the normal that are probably all messed up. Yeah, but the geometry is fine. It's actually fine, the geometry. Let me go in MATCAP. That probably will help us. See, yeah, it was just transferring the normal and they were all over the place, but it's actually working. It's doing something weird here, but probably because we are refining. Without refine, we need refine. Just we don't want this to happen. Can we subdivide patch? It's something else. Actually, I like this. It's not what I wanted, but I like that. If I remove slice anyway, it still work. Let me bevel segment, say 2. Bevel radius, I can increase that. Okay, so 3D Illusions is suggesting to add a bevel to the top and bottom of the cylinder before applying bevel after Boolean. It will increase, of course, the subdivisions in specifically in those places where we need more subdivisions, and this operate with this add-on will work better. But yeah, I turned off the normal transfer as is suggested now, and it won't look any good. Actually, it's looking good to me. It just we're not using the slice. Probably to use the slice. I mean, do I need the slice in this case? There are so many other ways to achieve the same result. This is a very good, again, I must admit, you can master this add-on to have a very non-destructive workflow. Will work. Yes, it will speed up the modeling for sure if you know what you're modeling exactly with the right dimension. But going back is gonna be a disaster. While I can achieve the same thing without a destructive workflow. So let's do it again with the classic Boolean. Select this, difference, and then duplicate. Oh, sorry. So I need to duplicate. We just hide the sphere, and the sphere is gonna be solidify. We kind of have the slice result already. At this point we can probably apply a bevel, which will make a mess, because that was the reason why I was so surprised about this solution of the bevel after Boolean. But I wonder if with this solution, what's gonna happen with this? Check it out. Nothing good. Let's go back. Let's try with 2 booleans. Okay, difference sphere, and then try duplicate, intersect. Then now we go to bevel, restore the folds. Difference, and the other one same, intersect. Wait. What's going on? It's not great, but still it's kind of working. This didn't work at all. So let me read what are your comments. Boolean slice the top and bottom of the cylinder. That will probably also fix the normals. Yeah, that will fix the normals, but the I like to keep the instead of finding a patch, I like to know why the normals were that way, and the reason it's because they were transformed, that we had custom normals and you can remove them from the geometry data and then fix them really. Okay, I'm kind of confused now because we have many techniques to achieve similar results. They are not exclusive. I think one result doesn't really exclude the other one. For example, here we don't have very detailed bevels, but that was the point originally, was showing how to achieve clean bevel, very simple, very low poly, without compromising the geometry. So you can go back and change all the bits. So I can go back here and really change the shapes, the position of things without compromising at all the topology, which is still clean. And here, for example, you could add a bevel and change the profile. That's easily done. And all of this without compromising the topology and the original geometries. One thing that it's actually interesting is that using an add-on like a bevel after Boolean, it adds a lot of detail, nice detail, it's clean detail, and it's great for a hard surface, which I would apply possibly after this. Let me test. Let's see what happens. Let's say that I have this kind of situation. I have already a bevel. I don't know if it's gonna work with the bevel on bevel, but we can test it. I'm kind of scared of clicking this button. Let's see what happens. I should have not clicked that button. Restore its difference. Do not transfer the normals. It's really terrible. Don't know what's going on here. I'm kind of scared. The scale is right, but it's probably doing so because I have already a bevel. So let me remove the bevel temporarily from these two geometries. So I have this, I have that. And I want to I don't know what's going on here. Let's try in a clean scene. Well, they had them. Actually, they had them. If you look, they actually have both have beveled edges. It's low poly, but there was no problem with that, with the example of the cylinder. So I don't really understand. Let's see. For example, if I change limit. Okay, so this is a limitation. It doesn't work with single edges and 90 degrees. In this case, I don't think it's 90 degree, but let's make it more refined. Like, let's add more segments, and then I'm already happy with this. I don't know why I would use this, but let's check that. It's messing around with the normals for some reason, maybe. It was the refine. It was the refine again. So let's go back to whatever we had before, which was this. 0, 1, one segment, bevel, and it worked. Let's try without the bevel. I guess it should work anyway, because it's a very simple operation to do. So here it is, and it's working. So here, what if I remove this and I do this and then slice? Okay. What's happening here is that the bevel it's on the only where the two objects merge, which is perfect. It's what we want in theory, or most of the cases. Let's remove the segments. I want one is probably 2, and here it is, the same result. That's great. That's really great. The only problem is that I cannot go back. I cannot move my boolean. It's gone. So it still works, as we said, but in a very destructive way. While if we go back to our original version, we could still change the elements, and they are completely dynamic, sorry guys. See, I can change this. Yeah, that's the main difference. I believe if you have a very clean and simple topology like the classic, the loot box, or any square with very flat surface, you still can work with modifiers without with some tweaking, but you can still use modifier without destroying the original shape. So you can go back and changing and adjusting the cutters for slice operation like this. All of these are actually we still have the boolean cutter there, so I can go back here. Oops, not this one. And I can move the shape. And same thing for the other one. While when you have very high poly or smooth surfaces and you are making booleans and there are a lot of artifacts, probably bevel after boolean will solve that problem, which is in a way what you can achieve with cycles with the shader, with the bevel shading. The good thing is that this works with EV2 because you are really modifying the geometry itself. And I believe that it's already Thursday in our time zone, and I would thank you everyone following this delirious streaming about studying on hard surface bevel modifier. The plan is to make a tutorial showing all the techniques in a more structured way. It's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna show different workflow. I will include the booleans, the bool tool, the bevel modifier will show the what is the weld modifier about. It can be used for funny stuff, but also for hard surface. And we will show when we can use the bevel after boolean modifier, bevel after boolean add-on, which is very cool. It's powerful. It's very deep. There's a lot of stuff you can do, and that I just scratched the surface. I really suggest to follow 3D Illusions because it's gonna take out of the hat a lot of nice tutorial. He has a very clean way to teach, so it's very good. Follow this guy. It's gonna be a nice channel. So it's suggesting right now that the only occasion where you need to use BAB, bevel after boolean, is when you need to increase the radius of the bevel farther, and that's a very, very good point. So when you want a big bevel, you know that there is gonna be overlapping and there's gonna be a mess in your geometry. You can have more control with the destructive way, which is what I'm trying to avoid. I don't know if anybody has ever worked with 3D Max at some point, and it's something that not even Maya has ever implemented, but they had this edit kind of modifier where you can do your editing inside the modifier stack without destroying the relationships, so you can go back, and as long as you don't add any vertices or faces or edges, you can keep actually the modification, and you can go back into the edit mode without destroying what you're doing. And then you can remove that edit mode, which is, imagine it's really like a modifier. It's like it could be a smooth modifier, but you go in edit mode and you do your tweaking of the geometry. So we're getting there. I think we will have something like this at some point. We have the poses that can be used probably for something similar. I never thought I could use this for something similar, but they're not in a stack, so there's no order. The shape keys are for whatever we are using. It's the final result. It's not in between two modifier, which is when we would need to do editing. So yeah, if you want to increase the radius of the bevel a lot, one way it's actually using the plugin, but it must be done at the end of the process or at the beginning of the process, not while you're doing non-destructive modeling. So there are different ways to achieve similar results. One other way, it's actually building the bevel in the original cutter. So when you are going to cut, you have already the bevel at the size you need. If you want to do it, if you have an idea of what you're doing from the beginning. Another easy way, it's instead of working with solid geometry, you can work with faces, 1, 2 faces at a time, and then assemble the whole thing at the end. Most people work in, I don't know if you follow Gleb, everybody knows Gleb Alexandrov. He's amazing, and he works usually with flat surfaces. It does all the work in a flat surface and then modify the flat surface. He really doesn't work with the solid, as I'm showing in this example. The reason why I'm showing this is because with solid, at the end you have an object that can be used in a game engine very easily. So as game asset, they are perfect for collisions. They are perfect for the render, real-time render, much better than having faces, and there's no problem with the control of the normals. There's no back face culling. They are perfect for 3D printing. So in an ideal world, this is how real geometry works. You have faces all around. You don't have imagine a glass where there's a bit of glass missing and on the other side there's nothing. This doesn't exist in real life, and for some reason this is how the engines prefer the geometry to be, to calculate, as I said, collisions, faster rendering time, and 3D printers too. They need to know exactly the geometry from any angle in order to calculate how to reproduce that in the real world. So it's the cleanest way to work, it's the cleanest approach, but it's much harder. It's very hard. So the other way, it's, as I said, working by surface, by planes, by face. You do your all work there, and then you assemble all the stuff together. As I said, if you're not working for a real-time engine, so game engine or VR or whatever you need, Eevee, it's a real-time engine. If you want to do just renders, if you want to do animation, that's fine. You can use whatever it looks fine on screen. That's exactly what you need. If you want a geometry that it's kind of cleaner and you want less number of polygon possible, you want to be able to go back and edit more, theoretically you can use some animation node, for example, to change the shape of your hard surface. So using procedural systems to interact and to animate the modifiers. This is something that you can only do if you work in a non-destructive way. I think my throat is asking for me to drink something and go to sleep. I will end this with the funny things that I used to do while testing the weld modifier. I start from scratch and let's add our, I don't know, is it me or the name of this geometry used to be Suzanne? Did they change it to Monkey? I don't even, I can't remember. I always called it Suzanne, and now I notice it's Monkey, but I'm old, so I may be wrong. Anyway, let's say we have this beautiful monkey, and we'll subdivide a little bit, not much. and then we have our weld, and we can create some fantastic animation. Let me apply this. It's kind of similar to the decimate result, but the decimate, it's more, I don't know how to explain. It just, it goes by distance, while the weld, especially when you activate it, has a more graphic kind of result. So even if it's not very nice on a normal object, if you apply a wireframe mode before the weld and then you go with the weld, exactly the opposite, that's what happened. And it's very cool. I like it's like a very stylized version. It's not as precise, it's more artistic in a way. I think it's the right time at night here in the UK to talk about abstract and artsy-fartsy 3D design. So this is basically a very conceptual version of Suzanne. But you can use, jokes aside, you can use this to create something that it's evolving, for example. I really like, it's much more organic compared to the decimate. Let's hide the weld for a second and let's use decimate. Decimate is clearly reducing, and yeah, well, once you're there it's nice, but then it's not even precise. There are like spikes going here and there. I know you can use different methods, but still it's like a different tool. It's a different tool and you can achieve different results, and you have to activate it. I like how the vertices move. And let's say that, for example, we have much smaller, thinner wireframe. Well, subdivide and then wire. Well, let's try that. Why not? Mesh. Oh, let's have our monkey. So we're saying, well, subdivide and then wire. I will decrease the thickness. Whoa. And now let's see what happened changing the distance. Completely right. It creates something much even more organic because of the subdivision. Let's add some subdivision here. That's nice. Well, at this point we have to do it because it's the time of the night. I think emission. I think it's the best way to end this stream is to show this, which is completely related to our surface. Guys, this is the end of the stream. We've been talking about different techniques for hard surface slice operation mainly, and then we're just playing with the weld, and that's kind of the end of it. Weld, why, and then subdivide? Yeah, why not? Let's swap them around. Nice. That's it's very cool. The only problem is that I can't really. My computer is asking why. Don't let me do this. There's too much going on. Let's remove the bloom at least. Okay, fair enough. Let's remove the bloom. But in this case, I would probably add some subsurface. And what about some solidify too? Okay. Oh, that's nice. The only problem is that I cannot use the slider in real time anymore. I'm really I don't even know if you are receiving my voice anymore because my computer is not responsive. Okay, here's back. So let's make it smaller and let's try this. It's very nice. It's very, very nice. Um, mm, what's going on? Why it's not working? Yeah. Yeah, it looks actually more like something people would wear in some club, like very hardcore club, dance, rave. Let me offset this a little bit. We have the subdivision after that. Let's me. Let me remove the solidify. It's cool, but my computer is really dying. Yeah, so 3D illusions suggesting to use a cloth seam to inflate Suzanne through the holes in their wire now, which is actually a very cool idea. And I believe that I know that 3D illusions only publish, well, only publish till now, very useful, and I would say almost technique kind of tutorial. I mean, I've seen the joypad, great technique, very clean geometry. It looks great. But I know because I've seen your images, some of your images that are very organic. They are super cool, super creative. I'm waiting. I'm really waiting for a tutorial. It may be anything like speed modeling or speed anything. Some backstage. Are you on ArtStation? If you're on ArtStation, I'm gonna I'm gonna find you on ArtStation. Please post some back backstage of what you do. It's great stuff. I really like your style. Um, Guys, with this abomination, the stream ends. Has been 3 hours after a long day of work. So I I will publish at some point this week, hopefully, a tutorial. If you're interested in having an overview of hard surface in Blender, art surface modeling, the slice operator mainly, and a few add-ons, let me know in the comments of, I don't know, there's no comment on the stream. I'm not gonna save the stream. It has been really delirious. It's been a lot of fun, to be fair, and I appreciate the chat with 3D Illusions. Everybody listening to this stream, that's kind of the end. Oh, thank you, Blifton. I didn't know if you were still here. Subscribe to 3D Illusions channel. That has been extremely helpful for this stream. I think without him, I would have not been. I would have give up probably the study of bevel after booleans. Is still very complex. I only scratched the surface. I will show the minimum things that I think I understand how they work in the tutorial. And well, thank you so much. Have a good night and take care, everybody, from all over the world. Ciao.